According to recent polls, less than 8% of Americans have personally read at least some part of the Mueller report. To be fair, the 448-page document is not exactly an easy read, but it has huge significance for American democracy going forward. The Mueller report is divided into 2 volumes that are roughly the same size. Volume 1 investigates exactly how the Russians interfered in the 2016 elections and whether the Trump campaign coordinated with the Russian government to do so. Volume 2 details all the instances of potential obstruction of justice by Trump during the investigation. Let's start with Volume 1. The report shows that Russia's efforts to meddle in the 2016 election actually started in mid-2014, a whole year before Trump declared his candidacy for president. Russia's efforts had 2 main parts. 1, a vast social media campaign that favored Trump, and 2, cyber hacks of people connected to the Clinton campaign, DNC servers, and voting systems around the country. You might remember that 1 week after the Clinton campaign emails were published via WikiLeaks, Trump looked into the camera and said this:
"Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing."
The report says that only 5 hours later, Russian intelligence tried to hack into Clinton's private email servers for the first time. However, Mueller found no evidence that the Trump campaign knew in advance that Russia would act on Trump's request. The report details about a dozen troubling interactions between the Trump campaign and the Russian government. Some of these interactions include sharing polling data with people connected to Russian intelligence, internal efforts to get Trump and Putin to meet, and an email exchange between Russian businessman Felix Sater and former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen that read in part, "Buddy, our boy can become president of the USA and we can engineer it. I will get Putin's team to buy in on this." However, Mueller concluded that there was not enough evidence to meet the legal threshold for conspiracy or coordination between the Trump administration and the Russian government. For the purposes of this report, the term collusion has no legal meaning. Let's go to Volume 2. Volume 2 explores about 10 instances where Trump possibly obstructed justice. However, right from the beginning, Mueller acknowledges that Department of Justice policy prohibits him from accusing a sitting president of a crime. Because of this, Mueller basically says that it's Congress's job to determine whether or not the president broke the law and what to do about it. Most of the instances of potential obstruction by Trump revolve around attempts to fire Mueller or to limit the scope of the investigation. One instance shows that Trump directed his White House counsel Don McGahn to fire Mueller, and in response, McGahn threatened to resign and commented to another member of Trump's team that, quote, "The president asked me to do crazy shit." Trump later tried to pressure McGahn into publicly denying this ever happened, but McGahn refused. In another instance, Trump tried to get former Attorney General Jeff Sessions to unrecuse himself from the investigation and take control of it. And yet in another instance, he tried to get Jeff Sessions to limit Mueller's investigation only to future election meddling. Mueller ultimately says that, quote, "If we had confidence that the president clearly did not commit obstruction of justice, we would so state," adding, "While this report does not conclude that the president committed a crime, it also does not exonerate him." So what can you do? 2 obvious things need to happen. First, we need to prioritize the security of future elections from foreign interference. And second, we must put pressure on Congress to move forward with the impeachment process. Mueller made it very clear that only Congress has the authority to prohibit a president's corrupt use of his power. For the sake of our democracy, and regardless of your political ideology, every American should support this process. Peace.